Okay, so we're recording. We'll keep working the waiting room, and I just want to. We'll start off just by saying good evening, everyone. And here we are again, a few weeks later, and really looking forward to the next trip with your wonderful children to a very historic place, Williamsburg, Virginia, and it's very historic for Bronxville. It's been real fun for me this year, just getting to learn a lot of our middle school traditions. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our trip master right here, Mr. Agnello, who once again, I just want to personally thank for, arranging this trip like he's done all the others. And looking forward to this one with these kids. And Jim, take it away and I'll keep working the chat. And guys, if anybody has any questions, best to put it in the chat. This way we could all see it and everybody can hear it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. For most of you, it seems like we just did this just a few weeks ago. So I do want to circle back to that. The trip was really phenomenal. I thought it was a great experience for the students, the chaperones. The 8th grade was incredibly well versed in travel and expectations and where to be when they were supposed to be. And we don't always see that. So we were pretty excited about that. I think they had a good time. They're still all talking about it. And we hope to duplicate that on this trip. For those of you who may not know, I believe is the 51st or 52nd trip for Bronxville to go to Williamsburg. One of our chaperones, Tom Rooney, matter of fact, a parent was emailing me this, that they went on the Bronxville trip and that Mr. Rooney was their chaperone back then. So we have a very, very long tradition for this trip. So we're excited about that. As we went through in the other meeting, safety is paramount for everything we do. That is the first and priority, and all the other priorities come after that. So just to review, if there's anybody on here, maybe just put in the chat if your child did not go to Boston and this is their first trip with us. That would be helpful in the context of some of the things that I covered. So the biggest safety thing that we do is we bring a nurse with us. The nurse is with us 24/7. This is the nurse that comes on the majority of all of us. She was on the Philly trip, I believe. No, that was somebody different perhaps, but she's been on the Philly trip. She's been on endless trips with us and endless day trips with us, including sharp reservation and trips. So, okay, I see that, Ms. Bordeaux. So I'll keep that in mind. And if you have any additional questions, just reach out to me and I will touch base with you tomorrow. So, so that's the primary thing. If your child was on the Boston trip and they submitted a form from your physician for prescription drugs to be administered during the trip, those forms are still in effect and the nurse's office has those on file. So you would just need to re-bring the actual medications in their original packaging in a Ziploc bag with their name on it. So that we have those and we're all straight on that. So the nurse will be with us. We set up like a sick bay room in the hotel. So if somebody's not feeling well, they don't have to be mixed in with their roommates. We only had one student out of 120 something in Boston that didn't feel. I think that's pretty good odds. So we were able to put them in that room, which happens to be right next to the nurse's room. And we'll continue that same practice. You will, of course, get a phone call and we will adjust accordingly as we need to. So that's that part. The groups and the roommates and the buses will remain pretty much the same as they did for Boston. As I said, it worked really well, so we didn't see a reason to mess with that. A few people have individually emailed something. We'll take that into consideration. We're closing the trip tomorrow at noon, so to adjust. There are some students that have other obligations and things that will not be joining us that went to Boston. So there may have to be a few tweaks here and there. We'll get that out to you guys as soon as we settle that tomorrow or Friday. The groups, once they're set, These groups are smaller groups than Boston because the itinerary in Williamsburg, if you've never been there, we're going into original in many cases or reproductions of originals. If they're not originals, small and houses and places in Williamsburg where not that many of us can fit at once. So we will have probably 9 or 10 groups, and those will travel through Williamsburg. When we're doing the large events, those groups are not in play. You're just really riding your bus. For example, when the night that we go to Busch Gardens, to the amusement park. So I will start going through the itinerary, which we emailed home to everybody. I will screen so you can see it up here. It's not as easy as what we emailed. So this is it. We are leaving next Tuesday, which is May 9th. We will start boarding at 7:30 out front, same kind of schedule, hopefully be on the road by 8. Take a rest stop. It's a much longer drive, obviously, to Williamsburg, Virginia. And that's pretty much all that's on the itinerary that day. Now, we will stop at the Delaware House or similar, depending on how much time we make and what the GW Bridge looks like. We will get that out to you, which food places are available at those stops. If your person has an allergy to anything related to food, please make sure that you put that in Family ID and that you send me a separate email. So we double, triple check that. And we will help the students navigate that at the places where we're going to eat. And we'll also provide those names so you'll be able to do some pre-planning with them and looking at the menu and making their choices. We will arrive at the hotel, check in. It's a hotel that we've stayed at many times in Williamsburg. It's walking distance, so we're not on and off the bus all the time. Really nice. We will do dinner the first 2 nights at the Golden Corral. I will publish that info as well. If you've never been to one, there's hardly a food item you could ever come up with that's not going to be on their menu. And we have our own room at the Golden Corral, which is really nice because the kids get to sit with whoever they want. And the staff there actually knows us. So it's not the highest quality food you'll ever see, but the kids love it. So it has all kinds of desserts and all those things. After, we will then see a short introductory movie in the hotel. So they cordon off an entire floor for us. We, in terms of safety, again, we hire, it's a U shape. So we hire 2 security guards that are on duty from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. And they each sit in each corner of the kind of the bottom part of the U, so they can see every door on the floor. There are no other guests on that floor, which is a really nice option to have. So we will have that floor to ourselves. And then they go to sleep and we start the next morning. We have breakfast in the hotel. So their main ballroom is dedicated just to us. So we'll watch the movie in there. We will have breakfast in there every morning. If we need to have a meeting with the students, you know, if something needs to be addressed, we will have the whole group in there. So we have that to ourselves as well. And then they will start touring in the restored area in Williamsburg. They will have lunch in what's called Merchant Square, which is right next to the College of William and Mary. Again, we'll provide the website for Merchant Square. It lists all the places they can eat at these meals. They do receive cash. For those, the Golden Corral is included. They don't need cash for that. And the cash I'm mentioning at Merchant Square, you have provided through us. They will get that from their chaperone as they start their lunch. So that way, if a student loses their wallet or misplaces it, they're not losing their entire trip's worth of money. So, and then the same would happen for the dinner at Busch Gardens. They will be given cash at Busch Gardens. So pretty much everywhere we go takes Apple Pay or similar and credit cards. If you wish to send your child with that, or one of those preloaded credit cards, which is what I saw many students in Boston have, which I think is a great idea. So they're not going to Best Buy and buying something on your credit card. But so we'll be, available for that as well, to make sure that if anybody has food allergies at Busch Gardens, that they are taken care of as well. So let's go back to the actual itinerary. On Wednesday, there will be night activities. It's kind of like a theater production. It's an old reenactment of a court trial involving pirates. They usually do a really good job with it, and the kids get a big kick out of it. Back to the hotel. Next day, we see the areas that we did not hit the day before. We will go over to Jamestown, which is a short bus ride away, about 20 minutes away. We'll come back to Merchant Square for lunch, and then head over to Busch Gardens for the evening and dinner. Come back, clean and pack their rooms. Then the next day we wake up, we have breakfast, and we head on back to Bronxville. So that's kind of the thing. We still ask that you have somebody, an adult or at least a high school student from your family or a neighbor, pick up your student at the end of the trip when we arrive. Back, the emails will go out. Mr. McCord will send an email every night. We'll try to put some photos in there if we can. And then we will keep you updated about Friday traffic coming back across the George Washington Bridge and what time we will be at the elementary parking lot. So that's kind of the itinerary. The packing is, and I will go through this just for everybody's sake as a reminder, very similar to Boston. The weather's going to be warmer, so that's nice, but they should still be prepared for rain in terms of their shoes, and they should still be prepared for rain in terms of their jackets. Umbrellas don't work really well with students. They tend to lose them, as myself included. But the small buildings we're going into, it's very cumbersome to have an umbrella with you. So if they have a good rain jacket, that will do the trick. Please try to put their name in everything you can possibly put their name in. They tend to leave things behind or get them mixed up with their friends. One small suitcase, one small backpack or carry-on string bag for the bus. They can have snacks and things on the bus. They cannot be of any nut or peanut type product. And we do ask that they are individually wrapped, not something in a giant bag or box that spills all over the bus. Like I mentioned at the last meeting, one of the trips we had Lucky Charms from one end of the bus to the other, because somebody brought a Costco-sized box of Lucky Charms that didn't go over real well. If you please put a name tag on the luggage, try not to overpack. There's no place where they need to be dressed up. When they're riding the bus, the first and the last day, they can wear shorts and t-shirts and those things. On Wednesday, they will be required to have either sweats or leggings or something like that on. And when they go to Busch Gardens, they can wear shorts again that day, because there are a few, they're not true water rides at Busch Gardens. If you've ever been there or never been there, they are where you can get wet from getting splashed on, like the log flume and things like that. And the forecast is going to be, I believe, in the high 70s or 80 for most of the week when we're there. And again, by the time we're getting ready to leave Busch Gardens at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, it's going to be cooler. So if they have that jacket or something with them, that will really work with that. Spending money wise, Busch Gardens is a little bit expensive. So for meals, if they want to, especially if they want to eat like a real dinner type meal as opposed to a fast food meal. So it's really up to you as a family. I still don't believe that any student needs more than $100 in spending money. And if they don't have that, they will be just fine, unless they want to buy a lot of sweatshirts or souvenirs or things. Typical school rules are in effect the entire trip. As I said, we're not anticipating any issues. They were so well behaved in Boston. And the other thing that really works in our favor on the 8th grade version of this trip is that Busch Gardens is the last event that we do. So they know that if they do something to really get in trouble, not something minor, that they could lose that privilege on the last night. So I don't anticipate there'll be anything there. When they are packing, In terms of electronics, nothing large like Xboxes or any of those things. I know some people want to bring computers. They're going to be walking around all day. We leave the hotel in the morning. We don't come back till the nighttime. We walk. They're not even on the bus for those days. So if it starts pouring rain, I can't guarantee that their laptop's not going to get damaged. This group doesn't really have a true project to work on because it's the 8th grade. This is kind of just a nice, enjoyable trip for them and for, lost time during COVID on the other trips that they missed out on. So please consider electronics. If they are going to listen, watch something on their phone on the bus, they do need earbuds or earphones. It can't be everybody on the whole bus is going to end up listening to. They can use their phones. They can have their phones. We do ask and enforce that they do not take any pictures in the hotel rooms under any circumstances, even if everybody in the room is okay that a picture is taken, it is not okay. We've had some students get in some serious trouble over the years, not specifically on the trips, but with inappropriate pictures. And we just don't want to put anybody in that position on either side of the camera. So we covered snacks. That's where we'll be staying. You'll have the phone number. You'll have my phone number and Joe's phone number. If you need anything, just like we asked on Boston, and you guys were great about this, if you have a concern about your student, please get in touch with us. If you have a concern about another student on the trip, that student's parent needs to get in touch with us. So I'm going to kind of stop there and open it up to the questions. Joe, if you could let us know if I see 11 things in the chat, but I don't have.
Yeah, those 11 things were to people in the waiting room too. Make sure
Oh, okay.
First and last name. There was a very nice comment, Jim, about how prepared everything is for the trip, and thank you so much. So that's what we got right now. But I just wanted to also say that room assignments, we're really going to work hard to get those out to you the latest by Friday morning, so you could see where what rooms your kids are in and everything like that. Pretty much going to stay the same, unless of course, like some kids didn't go, and then it leaves your child without someone. We certainly want someone to be in a room that they're comfortable with, and we'll certainly honor any of those requests that were made of if you didn't want your child in a room with a particular student. So rest assured of that. The rooms are always something that we work very hard on to make sure that at least one person is in the room that your child wanted to be with, and we'll make sure it worked out really well last time, and we anticipate it working out really well again.
Yeah, we have those forms, so we will take a look at those. And for the student that was not on the Boston trip, I do not recall whether I think they had submitted a roommate form because they were sick and then couldn't come. But if that's not the case.
Yeah, well, I know for the parent that responded in the chat, we definitely got a roommate form. The first parent.
Perfect.
I have it, and I
Okay.
have the child actually in a room too, so we're good there.
Any
Double check that.
questions from the general public here?
Okay, and if there are questions, you can email Jim, you can email myself. Any parents that might be texting you right now saying I missed the meeting, don't worry, we've recorded the meeting. It'll be fine. No, you do not need to submit a new roommate form for this trip. We have the old one on file, and we're using that one. Thank you for that question. And again, we will email this meeting out again to everybody in the 8th grade. So this way, if anybody wasn't here, we'll have this meeting and all the information that came with it. Any other questions? We're happy to take anything right now. Okay, Jim, I think we're good.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And reach out to us, as Joe said, individually, if there's something you think.
We're looking forward to Tuesday. We're looking forward to Tuesday, everyone.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you, Ted. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your kind words.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Take care. Have a good night.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Nice job, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.